Welcome back. We will be creating two methods on the password type. The first method will be used to set the password field. So we will be generating the hash. Okay. So the set method stores the hash of the plain text password. Okay, we've done this before, so none of this should be new to you. So we're going to call this P, it's on password, and it will be named set, and what it requires is to pass in the plain text password. So plain text password, and of course it will be of type string, and it will return an error code as a part of its operation. Okay, so plain text. So if you recall, to create a hash of a password, we will use the bcrypt that generate from password function. It requires the password as a byte slice and a cost. Normally we specify 12 as the cost, and the byte slice, which is the hash, will be returned along with an error code. So the password, of course, will be plain text password, and the cost, we will keep it at 12. That's a common value. If error not nil, then something went wrong with the hashing, and we will return that error. Otherwise, we hashed the password correctly, and so now we need to store the hash in the hash field. Alright, so also we will be assigning to the plain text field the address of the plain text password. Okay. Alright, and then of course the hash will be assigned the hash. And once we have done that, then we will simply return nil, because everything was done properly. Alright, so that's our set. You pass in a clear text, a plain text password. We generate a hash for it. We assign that hash to the hash field, and since plain text is a pointer to a string, we're going to have it point to the plain text password. Alright, so the next helper method that I want us to implement is the one that we call when we want to check to see if the password that the user has supplied matches the one that we have stored in our database. So let's I'm going to call that matches. So the matches method checks if the supplied password is correct. Again, we've done this, so this should be nothing new. So we're going to call it P on password matches, and we're going to pass in the plain text password, and of course it's of type string, and we will be returning whether it matches or not, so a bool, and whether there was an error. Okay, so we will be using the compare hash and password function. from bcrypt. So error is bcrypt.compare hash and password. Alright, and so we will be passing in the hash which we have stored, and then we will be passing in the plaintext password. And that's it. Now if error not nil, then either the password doesn't match, they don't match, or there was some other error. So I have to actually check to see which error there was. Specifically, I want to check to see if I get back the error that the passwords don't match. And so I'm going to say errors is, okay, and I want to check to see if the error is the bcrypt that error mismatched hash and password. Okay, if I get that error, then it means the two passwords don't match up, and so I can safely return false. Okay, and of course I will return, let's return nil. Okay, alright, and if some other error occurred, then I need to return an error code. So I'm going to return false because they won't match, but I will return error. Okay, so that's what I do when I want to compare. Okay, so that's my switch, that's my if, and if I get over here, alright, it means that they do match. And so I'm going to return true and nil. Alright. Okay, so these are our two helper methods. One of them allows us to generate the hash and to store it in our password struct, the password type. And the other one is to actually check to see if the user, when they provide a password, if it matches the one that we have stored in our hash field. Alright, let's leave it here. In the next video, in the next lesson, we want to work on the validation code. So similar to how we validated for the school, to ensure that the proper data was sent in a request, we also want to ensure that the proper that the fields are filled in for the user when the client actually sends a request. So I'll see you in that next lesson.